Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to today's sequence. Today we're going to be practicing twists for beginners. So Leo's going to go through some of the equipment.
Okay, so we have a yoga chair here. Now, one of the ways that we're going to do one of the twists, you would need a yoga chair for, unless you have a chair that you can knock the back out of. As you can see, the yoga chairs have no back on them. That doesn't mean to say you can't practice the other twists using a chair on a standard, sturdy kitchen or dining chair. It's just the one that where we take the legs through that might cause you a problem with those. And the other equipment, we've got a yoga brick and a couple of yoga pads.
Alright, so our first pose today is going to be Bharadvajasana. Now this sequencing is for people who are really stiff or beginners, or some of you who have got a little bit more experience and you want to feel more extension and a little bit more of a deeper action in the twist. So this is why we're going to apply with the chair. So Leo's going to sit on the chair sideways on.
So this you can do with a standard chair.
So I know that some of you who follow our channel may have come across this way of Bharadvajasana in Yoga for the Office. We did do a few poses which were, obviously sitting down and getting that twist. But what's really important in this position is to make sure that your feet do not move around. So what I'm going to do in this position is to give Leo a foam pad, or she's going to wrap it herself there and place it between the feet. And this is such an important prop to use because in the very beginning, or even if you have some experience, they kind of shuffle a little bit. So this will help you to ground to the earth, and that's really important when you're trying to move a different area of the body. So remember, stabilize the base. Really key thing here. So as you can see, Leo's sharply working with the position of her feet and lifting up. With that, it gives her the opportunity to lift out of her pelvis, and this is really what we want. We want to twist with those paraspinal muscles, all those little muscles along the spine. So as Leo is lifting, we're going to now turn, so keep that extension through the body and come for the Bharadvajasana twist. You can see that Leo's not twisting very far because actually we've used that word extension. So as soon as you start to extend, you're finding all these little pockets in the body that haven't moved before. So this is quite a key thing because actually Leo could move quite easily. She's going to show you this now. Just drop in actually, and yeah, you see, this is not what we want to practice. We want to find those pockets where we don't move and that we can actually really get in there, get stuck in there. So keeping that lift and then coming into the turning action. And you'll find that this will really help to get some movement in the spine. And I say it's quite an active action, really active, and hopefully you'll be able to get rid of some of those deeper restrictions. The wonderful thing about the chair is that you hold it and you can turn with it. It's just such a good fulcrum to work from. But remember when you're in this pose to breathe, and remember to lift and stamp down into the feet. So quite a lot going on. And then releasing and turning yourself around. So turning so that Leo's going to turn the chair around so that she can still face the back of the chair. And again, having the feet connecting to that foam pad. It's really worthwhile just practicing with that. Even if you don't normally, this is a very good prop. So lifting up through the centre of the body and turning to the bars of the chair. And you can see that Leo pauses here. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I know all of you will be making so much effort in this and working really strongly and really well, but just remember these shoulders. So these shoulders have just got to release. Even though there's a lift throughout the whole of the body, the shoulders have got to just have that tiny little bit of releasing. So remember that when we build stability in the body, it means to say that we can release different areas as well. Okay, and then we come into this twisting action. So this is a lovely way of working. As we said before, for the beginner you can take it any amount. Just don't overdo, just see that you're aware of your restrictions and just be with those restrictions until you're invited to move a little bit more fluidly in the body, and then release it. So we're going to take the feet through the chair now. So again, we're going to show you. Now, as Leo was saying, that it's a bit difficult if you've got a back on the chair. So if that's the case and you're still working with us, then you can repeat the previous pose, no problem. But this way, it's slightly different. But again, you have to stabilise. Now you have the chair bars in front, so you can move slightly differently. So you're going to walk the left hand up towards the top of the chair and take the right hand behind you and pause. So just pause before you twist, because you want to press down into your feet again and lift up through the centre of the body, and then see how much you can turn away from the back of the chair. Yes. So this way works slightly differently in the shoulder. You can walk that back hand round a little bit more and get that opening, get that turning, get that lifting. So this is the action. It's a really beautiful pose. And then release it. And we come to the other side. So again, same thing on the other side. See that there's stability in the base. From there, try and lift up through the centre of the body and use the chair as a fulcrum so the hand comes round onto the back of the chair, and keep that lift and extension throughout. That's really a nice way of working. And then release in. So if you've been working in this way, and then come out of your chair, if you're sitting sideways on, then we're going to be standing. So we're coming for a standing twist with the chair, and this is really a nice way of working as well. It will give a different action on the spine, but we're still working on those Bharadvajasana actions. So Leo's got a brick, it's so that she places it under her heel. Now the reason for the brick is to give a little bit more lift in the leg. When the legs are lifted, the soft tissue fibre is lifting, then you'll be able to lift the rest of the body. So this is really quite a nice way of working. But be sure that your outer hip is to the wall so it's not flying about in the air. We'll just give you a little demo with that. If you're away from the wall, it's very easy to, when you put your leg up, to just twist like this. You can see everything sort of goes out of line. So what you want to do is to go quite close to the wall and stabilise that outer hip, and it's a really nice way to just have that touch there to stop that over mobility. And then the downward leg, you've got to be sure that it's working strongly, and try to pull up those kneecaps, pulling up the thigh muscles as much as you can, and then turning to the wall. So you're going to make this leg straight. Some of us, when we first start yoga, or even it takes a few years to really get that fluidness in the thigh muscles, so sometimes it's really difficult to understand that teaching instruction of lifting the thigh. So you have to see that actually you make them strong. You try to lift them. You have to will it in your mind to really get the kneecaps lifted so that you can get that turning action. So again, your hip is to the wall and your hands are to the wall, and now you can just go up with your chest. So again, it's a slightly different action on the body. And then release it. But quite handy if you have a chair and a wall, then it's perfect. You can really energize the spine with the twist. And of course the twist will open so much in your body, so much in your spine. Really good to keep everything moving. So now we come to the left side, we're lifting up, pulling up through the leg, and then turn to the wall, turn to the wall. So we've got to see when we turn to the wall that we're still maintaining this action of lift. So quite often it's quite easy to bulge out to the side. We don't want to do that, we don't want to lean, but we want to see that these back muscles are releasing. So these back muscles really need to release, and the hips need to lift, and then you can see that we can get this turn in action. This is quite a strong rinse in action for Leo. Quite a lot. Okay, and release it. What I will say about the twist as well, and some of you are probably aware about eating. Do not eat just before you're about to practice.
That's a very good point, actually.
Particularly in the twisting actions, because actually, you want to concentrate on the body. That is the food, not the literal food. Alright, so we're going to come down to floor level. We're still going to use the chair for Bharadvajasana. Now we're going to come into a modified version of Bharadvajasana. So we're still working very much for either the beginner, stiffer body, or just for people who actually are mobile and you want to feel a little bit more of a sensation in the body itself. So just sitting with your legs down, I'm going to move out the way for Leo to be able to sit in Dandasana. So we're coming for Marichayasana. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. So we start off with Marichayasana 1. So some of you may be familiar with this action. So you're going to bend your left leg firstly and hold on to the head of the shin and use that as a fulcrum to really get that lift up. So if you find that sitting on the floor collapses your spine, so Leo will show you that collapse of the spine. If you find this is happening, this is really not where you want to be, because actually you can't get any movement. Of course, if you've got no space, you can't twist. So we have to see that we bring positive actions to the body through this wonderful prop work. So keep that lift through the centre of the body. Now reach up with your left arm, and when you reach, you've got to reach the whole of the side flank here, all the way up. So it actually matters, this action matters. Keep the straight legs strong and straight. So you've got quite a lot to be watching at this moment in time. And then hook the arm in front of the thigh and turn so that you place your right hand onto the chair. Now press onto the chair with the palm and go up. Don't think about that twisting action at this moment in time, because you want to make space so all of those fibers can have the space to turn. Hopefully some of you are enjoying the benefit and getting the benefit from sitting on a couple of foam pads and getting that lift. So remember to turn those paraspinal muscles, all those little fibers, you've got to get some space in the body. So be sure that you're working from this really good fulcrum and then releasing, and we will do the other side.
Can I just say that if you don't have foam pads, you could use folded blankets or towels for this.
Yeah, make sure they're folded really well and firmly.
Yeah, we do like a good folded blanket.
We do. Alright, so now again, holding on to the shin and lifting up out of the pelvis. And keeping this straight leg absolutely straight and strong. And then reaching up with your right arm, go on reaching as much as you can, get that flank extending, and then hooking and taking that back arm back. Take it onto the chair. Now press into the palm onto the chair, so again it's another touch, it's another fulcrum, and go and see that you get that lift up through the centre of the body. So really, to get that twisted, the twist comes from so much space and extension throughout the whole of the body. So be sure that you're keeping this straight leg absolutely straight and strong. So if you're pushing that heel into a wall, Good. And then releasing. Stretching your left foot. So sitting Dandasana, sitting with the legs nice and straight and rolling the shoulders back and down. So we're going to come for Marichayasana 3 now. So this is when we go across the body slightly different. So bending your right leg. So we're just coming into a modified version of this today. We're going to use the chair, but also we're going to keep this left hand onto the upper shin area, the head of the shin, and then taking the right arm back. So this is the action that we're going to start with, extending and lifting up and trying to get that turn. So softening the elbow of the back arm and see if you can move those elbows away from one another so you get that space. Yes. Now for some of you, you'll be able to come to this next stage of bringing this arm to the outer thigh region. Okay. So if we don't get that space to start with, then we will actually come into a collapsed action. So we want to see that we make those preparations. So don't rush to take that arm over. We come into that action once we've got that breadth and broadness in the back body. And then releasing. And reaching them. So we're going to come with the other side now. So bending your left leg, holding onto the shin and lifting up. And again, be sure that when we come into this action, you get that extension to start with, the straight leg's absolutely straight and strong. Right hand is on the head of the shin. Left hand goes behind and just pause there. Now, use the fulcrum of where this foot is touching the floor, pulling up through the knees. Press down into the bent leg, foot, and lift again. Yes, lift again. And now get that turn in action. And now see, can you take the arm, go to that next stage. Can you take that arm over and extend up? Okay, so this is the space that we're looking for in Marichyasana 3. And then release it. Okay, so we come for our last in the sequencing, and this is a modified version of Bharadvajasana 2. So it's not the classic pose. You can find the classic pose in our pose directory. So the first thing that we have to achieve is a Virasana leg. So we're going to bend the left leg into Virasana. So the Virasana leg is when we come into this kneeling position, but actually the side of the foot is against the foam pad, and then we're going to come into a baddha konasana action with this right leg. And if you find that it's a little bit challenging and that you are bouncing, then you can take the brick just underneath the knee like this and sitting up nice and tall. You are now going to take the left arm over the right thigh and get that turn in action. Okay, and lift up and turn. Lift the chest and turn. So this leg in the classic pose normally comes into a Padmasana action. So we'll be showing you that in the pose directory. Or in our next series of twists, which is more of an intermediate level. And then releasing. Stretching the legs out. And then we come to Bharadvajasana, turning to the left side. So bending the right leg into Virasana, and then the left leg into Baddha Konasana. So it's a really nice way of practicing. So you see that Leo actually is a little bit more flexible on this side. So keeping this lift through the centre of the body and turning towards your Baddha Konasana leg and getting that turn. So if you've got a brick behind you, put your hand onto a brick. Leo's got the wall actually, so you can use that as well. But get that lift up and turn. Lift and turn, lift and turn. So this is really the baby stage to Bharadvajasana 2. So for some of you, this still may be quite challenging. And then release it. And straighten your legs. Sit in Dandasanas with your legs out in front. Roll your shoulders back and down. So this is the end of our twisting sequence. We hope that you enjoyed the practice.
Yes, twists are great for getting the abdominal area working well, particularly the digestive system. But it is important, as Lynn said at the beginning, that you don't eat before you do your twists, particularly not a heavy meal.
No.
You will regret it.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed this, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. If you liked the video, please click the like button, do subscribe and opt for notifications if you want to know when our videos come out. Hope to see you again soon. Namaste.